The Sumerian city-state of Ur, one of the greatest city-states from Mesopotamia, and one of the most storied cities in the history of the world. Much of the knowledge people have today about Mesopotamia comes from the artifacts that were found during the excavation process at the city of Ur. From 1922 to 1934, archaeologist Charles Leonard Woolley excavated the site of the ancient Sumerian city of Ur. He made many great discoveries about the people who lived there. Come with me as we journey through the excavation process. The Great Ziggurat at Ur is one of the best preserved ziggurats from Mesopotamia. It also served as the place where Woolley decided to begin his excavation process. He started to dig trenches surrounding the ziggurat, and within 2 weeks, his men started to find great valuables. Among the 1,800 graves that Woolley discovered, there were 16 tombs which had very special and valuable objects in them. He called these the royal tombs of Ur. The artifacts from the royal tombs of Ur give us a complete picture of ancient Sumerian art and civilization. With the notable exception of the Egyptian tomb of Tutankhamun, no other archaeological discovery gives us a better understanding of ancient life and culture. In fact, it would be difficult to visualize Sumerian history without the artifacts from the tomb of Ur. Get ready as we explore the royal tombs of Ur. After many years of digging, we finally discovered a doorway, an entrance to what appears to be a great tomb. We must follow the stairs down a deep, dark path. This photo gives a good idea of the depth to which some of the tombs were buried. This process takes the help of many men. Together with our team, we will explore and find some of the greatest artifacts from the ancient world. Now that we have found our way in, we have designed a map showing exactly where the 16 different royal tombs are located. The Great Death Pit, as Woolley called it, with his 74 attendants, was the most spectacular of Ur's royal tombs. However, not all of the tombs were designed for several attendants. Many of the tombs were built for just one, such as the tomb you are seeing here, in which many great artifacts were discovered. Perhaps the most impressive of these discoveries is the golden helmet seen here. A lot has been learned about the occupant of this tomb based on the discovery of this helmet. For example, Sargon the Great, the ruler of the world's first empire, has been shown in many different statues wearing a similar type helmet. What could you tell about the occupant of this tomb based on the fact that he was buried with that kind of helmet? Take a couple of minutes to write down your thoughts. Amongst the other great discoveries, Woolley found 2 sculptures that he named the Ram in the Thicket. This statue depicts a ram rearing up on his hind legs to eat the leaves on the high branches of a tree. It is believed that the tube rising from the goat's shoulders was used to hold a small tray or an offering bowl. Why would something like this be important for someone to take to their grave? Would they need it in the afterlife? What does it show you about Mesopotamian religion? Do you think that every Mesopotamian would have something like this in their tomb? Take a few minutes to write down your thoughts.
Riders on the storm, riders on the storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out on loan. Riders on the storm.
As we continued to excavate, we found the tomb of a woman who was surrounded with her personal possessions, some of the richest found in any Sumerian tomb. Buried with her were the bodies of 26 attendants, men and women, and a team of oxen harnessed to a decorated processional chariot. It is believed that this ceremonial chariot would have brought this woman to her final resting place. Every female attendant inside this tomb was decorated with fine headdresses and jewelry like the display you see here. In addition to the females, the males were also decorated with fine jewelry. And much of the jewelry that was found was produced using resources that are local to the city-state of Ur. However, much of the material used to produce the jewelry is not present for hundreds of miles from the city-state of Ur. What does that tell you about the people of Mesopotamia? What can you tell about this woman based on the fact that she had 26 attendants, all wearing fancy jewelry buried inside her tomb with her? Take a couple of minutes to write down your thoughts. Inside several of the tombs there were objects found showing rams and bulls, many of which had the head of the animal and the body of a human. Others had the body of the animal and the head of a human. What does this tell you about Mesopotamian culture, or mythology, religious beliefs perhaps? In addition to these statues and vessels, nearly every tomb had musical instruments in them. Some of these instruments also had the head of a bull or a ram. What does this tell you about Mesopotamian culture or their love for music? Do you believe that musicians were highly valued in Mesopotamian society? Take a few minutes to write down your thoughts.
With fields full of grain, I have to see you again and again. Take me, Spanish caravan. Yes, I know you can.
There have also been many weapons found in the tombs at Ur, such as the blades you see here. Many were made of gold, obsidian, and several other kinds of precious metals. There were also several versions of this board game found. This is believed to be the predecessor to the modern game Backgammon. But perhaps the most iconic artifact from the royal tombs of Ur is called the Standard of Ur. It was found in one of the largest grave sites next to the body of a soldier. There are many theories as to what the standard was used for, but what we do know is that we have taken a great deal of information from the standard. The front panel is called War, and the back panel is called Peace. The war side of the Standard of Ur has always been regarded as a work of art, but has never received proper credit for what it really is, a historic record. It has always been given only a cursory examination by historians, with very little commentary as to its content, despite the fact that it's a complete accurate, and detailed commentary of ancient warfare, the first in world history. In the top row, the king stands with his troops and chariot while prisoners are paraded before him. The middle row depicts Sumerian soldiers on the attack. There is a brief battle and the enemy runs away. The last row depicts an attack of Sumerian war chariots with the bodies of the enemy being trampled beneath the horses' hooves. This close-up of the second panel on the war side of the Standard of Ur shows Sumerian soldiers on the attack. They are wearing cloaks and helmets as they carry spears to attack the enemy. This close-up shows a Sumerian soldier with his war chariot. He carries his battle axe and his leather-plated armor that's draped over his shoulder. His horses are wearing the same type of leather armor. This war chariot is already on the move. It is equipped with javelins in the front of the chariot. It carries 2 soldiers, one to drive the chariot and one to throw the spears. And this third close-up shows a war chariot in action. You can see the enemy soldier is trampled beneath the horse's hooves while a Sumerian soldier prepares to finish him off with a spear. And after the chariots have done their work, this picture shows a Sumerian capturing an enemy soldier. So what could you learn from viewing the war side of the Standard of Ur? What does it tell you about their culture, about their battle techniques, about the weapons that they used? Take a few minutes to write down your thoughts.
Run with me, run with me, let's go. Some outlaws live by the side of a lake. The minister's daughter's in love with the snake who lives in a well by the side of the road.
The peace side to the Standard of Ur shows the aftermath of the battle. The king, in the top row, third from the left, drinks and celebrates his victory while listening to the music from the bull-headed lyre. The bottom row shows his subjects in a ceremonial victory procession. Let's take a look in more detail. This close-up shows the king's audience. After his victory in battle, the king has a drink with his cronies while being attended by 2 loyal servants. Notice the size of the different figures. The king's cronies are smaller than the king, but larger than the servants. What does that tell you about the status of these different figures? This is a close-up of the music being played for the victory celebration. It is provided by the man playing the bull-headed lyre, accompanied by a female vocalist. She is the only woman depicted on the Standard of Ur. What does that tell you about women in Mesopotamia? These next 2 images show the king's subjects in a religious procession, bringing forth the abundance of the land. Sheep, bulls, goats, and many other forms of tribute for their king. These animals will be eaten and sacrificed during the victory feast. This image is a close-up once again showing the king, one of his cronies, and 2 attendants. Take note of the size once again of the different figures.
My wild love went riding.
So what could you learn from the peace side of the Standard of Ur? What does it tell you about social classes and Mesopotamian culture? Take a few minutes to write down your thoughts.
And asked him to pay. The devil was wiser. It's time to repent. He asked her to give back the money she spent. My wild love went riding. She rode to the sea. She gathered together.
As our exploration comes to an end, I want you to realize that we only looked at a small portion of the artifacts that were found at Ur. The information archaeologists have learned about daily life in Mesopotamia from analyzing these artifacts is unmeasurable. I want you to stop and think for a minute. What did you learn from analyzing the artifacts from the royal tombs of Ur?
She rode on